Is that a bit or was that actually the start?
I did a right eye blink, actually.
It's left for me. Woo. Oh my goodness! Happy St. Patty's Day, everybody! If you didn't wear green, next time I see you two, I'm gonna pinch you.
I had to go out and buy something, so I just don't own green clothing.
I wear
same.
green. I have green shoes.
This is literally the only green thing I own is this green stripe on this hoodie. That's
I have
it.
green shoes. I bought like a retro vintage like soccer shirt that was green as well. It's pretty cool.
Oh, God,
So I was set.
this is
I was covered. Can't pinch me more than I pinch myself. So.
Oh my God, I'm not even in frame. Hang on.
And I
You're
pinch
in
myself
frame.
to let myself know that I'm not dreaming. That yes, I am on the Fake Racers podcast.
I'm just
That is
sad
me.
the Creed poster's gone.
Oh, it fell down.
Yeah,
it's
I was
over
gonna
there.
say.
Oh, it's
somewhere.
over in the mess.
It's over
Yeah.
there.
I haven't
Gestures
cleaned my
at the
room in a hot
mess.
minute, so, yeah. Speaking of Luck Irish, I won another BMX race, so that was
Nice.
cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And then the racing gods decided that was one too many good things for me this week.
Okay, understand.
Because, Joe, what's like the worst experience you've ever had as a sports fan? Like, I'm thinking of that Michigan State game.
You're barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad ones.
So, Supercross this weekend. Last week it was awesome because Ken Roxon won and everybody was stoked for him and nobody thought it was going to happen. And it was like, cool, Suzuki's got their first win since 2016. And then this week we were setting up for a pretty awesome thing because Aaron Plessinger, who's still yet to win a 450 race and has kind of struggled, was having the race of his life. Got second on the start, got by Adam Cianciarulo after a lap, and checked out. Just left the whole field, had Chase Sexton covered by 7 seconds. Sexton closed it down to 3. Plessinger opened it back up to 4. It was over. And then literally with a lap and 3 corners to go, Plessinger hooked his boot on a rut, Supermaned off the back of the bike, and piled it up. And the way it happened live was they were filming Sexton, who was in second, and then you heard the whole crowd react. And I was like, there's no way that what just happened. What I think happened. And then they cut to Aaron Plessinger laying over a tough block, his bike steaming because he blew up the radiator from it.
Oh my God.
And my roommate and I are massive Aaron Plessinger fans. And Joe, you know that Michigan State game? The one
yes,
I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying it again.
You know that famous shot though of that guy in the stands just like
yes.
That was literally me for 10 minutes. I did that exact thing. I was just in genuine disbelief. Literally the worst I've felt after a race or a sporting event since the 2011 Coke 600. So I just like sat on the floor for 20 minutes afterwards. I was like, I'm going to go cry. So that happened.
Everyone has those sports. Hey, that's what sports is all about though, is being horribly and horrifically traumatized by the things that the people you enjoy watching do the sport you like do.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like I haven't
I genuinely almost got emotional when they cut to Plessinger after the race and he's on the side of the track, visor blown off his helmet, lost his goggles, steam pouring out of his bike, and he is just crying his eyes out. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's kind of a freak thing to happen, right? Like that's not.
It was just like the what he said. Basically, every time he had been taking that corner, he had been sitting down, putting one foot down, and just digging into a rut. And he had a 4-second lead, and he was like, the one time I just took it standing up so I could take it a little slower, but be set up for the jump right after it. Caught his boot and launched him off the back of the bike.
Why you don't fix something if it ain't broke?
Yep. So. Yeah, pain.
These things happen. You know?
So that was my Saturday.
Yeah. Joey Logano. Oh, this is Fake Racers Podcast. I'm Joe. That's Davey. Matthew back this week. Great reception last week. Thank you, folks, for watching on YouTube and listening on Spotify. Well, they did. It was like 50 views. That's more than we normally do. So I gotta put it in there. But back after Atlanta, Unana. That's not that song. Joey Logano dominates, and the racing world is sad. Wins with a last lap pass. There's a lot of moments from this race we can talk about. I wanted to start at the end because I was very sad.
I was gonna say, I feel like Joe, this is your opportunity to take the floor and really lay it on thick how you feel about this.
Yeah, so Keselowski is able to control the end of this race. The last 50 laps he controlled. I think Logano got the lead at one point, and Brad was able to 5-10 laps get back by him and control the dang thing. And I don't know. You know, Brad's leading coming to the white flag, which is in pre-race. He said that's exactly where he didn't want to be. So that was kind of funny because it's like, oh no, you're where you don't want to be. Goes high to low. Logano's low goes high because he gets a good sniff of the draft going down into the corner, and these cars just have super suck for some reason. And is able to get to the outside of Brad, and Brad doesn't throw as an aggressive of a block as he would have 10 years ago. Rightfully so.
2 years ago.
No, not even that. Okay.
I think he was getting Daytona flashbacks, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not doing this again."
Well, fair enough. But just decided not to complete the block or complete it to the wall at least, because I think he could have. He really wanted to. He said in his post-race interview he thought he had slowed down Logano enough, which I agree with. It's just all of a sudden Logano got a huge shove from Christopher Bell down the back straightaway and got clear. So, yeah, you can't leave the top. The top had too much momentum, especially down the back straightaway. Everyone was lined up there. It was just a mistake to kind of leave that line, but also wanted to get in front of Logano because I think Logano had Blaney behind him at that point, so you know that he's going to have a pusher. So, but that one stings. That one stings. Not gonna lie, that one really stings. I didn't even wear my 6 hat this week. I think I wore it the last couple weeks. Or my 43 hat. That's a different reason. But
yeah. And going back to like the last lap, it is kind of just like I watched it a few times. I was talking earlier about how I wasn't able to watch a lot of the race live, but I've watched the finish of the race a couple times. Like, you know, as we were kind of getting ready to record, and it's still like kind of intriguing to me how. Like he didn't even really Brad didn't even really it was like not block aside. Like he didn't really protect the outside the way I kind of figured that he would have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like the outside was the dominant line. Like that's where you wanted to be, and he just did not protect his right rear like at all.
Yeah.
And I was kind of surprised watching it that it's kind of almost a mistake rather than it was like he chose not to block. I feel like it was more of a mistake. He didn't cover it as well.
I don't know if mistake's the right word because I think it's the right move. I think the thought process is the 22 is the fastest car. I'm going to block the 22. The only problem with blocking the 22, as we have seen year after year after year, is the 22 doesn't care if you block him. He doesn't let off. He's going to try to get around you, and then you get to that point, which to your point, is probably something where, especially after Daytona a few years ago, I'm getting those flashbacks again. You have to be mindful of that, right? So, those things aside, I don't think it's fair to say it was the wrong move just because he lost, or say it was a mistake because he lost. I don't even think it was the wrong move because at that point you're a sitting duck.
I'm not saying it because he lost. I'm saying it because he didn't cover the outside, and I feel like he should have. I mean, you heard TJ Majors over the radio screaming, "Stay outside," and he didn't.
Fair enough.
That's why I kind of think it was a mistake. It's not a mistake because he lost. It's a mistake because he let Joey Logano get to his right rear, and that's like, I mean, when that happens, unless you're Parker Kligerman, you know, they're gonna sail by you.
To well,
at least in my opinion.
Then you just keep turning left, right? To piggyback off that too, Brad was out there all by his lonesome. He got hung out to dry a couple times by the Penske guys. When it was the Fords up there against the Toyotas. So, and not that that's a bad thing, right? That if I'm Roger Penske, I don't want my drivers working with another Ford in the late stages of a race. But again, I look at it as he's trying to get in front of the fastest car. Yeah, I guess it's a mistake. I'm just very disappointed still because I definitely watched those last 50 laps just like I watched the end of the 500 and got to be very disappointed for the second time this year that the 6 wasn't able to win. So that was amazing. This time I can't honestly. The first time stung a little bit more because it's a 500, but this one I don't know. This one just felt really weird. So,
I think he had like the 500. You kind of know it's a little bit of a lottery. Like you kind of know something might happen. I feel like with Atlanta, even though it is
even though
it is speedway racing, there is a little more predictability. Yeah, exactly. There's a little more predictability in how the race is going to develop.
Yeah,
in the short term.
And this is exactly what, when they reconfigured Atlanta, this is exactly what they wanted it to be. I mean, that for all intents and purposes, that was a duel between the 22 and the 6 throughout the last 50 laps. That is some of the most entertaining racing I've watched. I know people don't like it, whatever. I don't care. We can talk about it here. Because we've beat it to the ground at this point that you couldn't repave this track at its old configuration and have good racing from the rip. But I think that was the closest you're gonna get to 15, 20 years ago super speedway plate style racing. Because at the end of the day, both of them didn't, they put each other in situations that were a little risky for the other person and themselves, but they never, made a move that was dumb. Like, dumb in the sense that, okay, we're binning a bunch of cars. Or dumb where you saw the whole pack have to check up. Because I didn't see any of that. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you get bailed out by the guys behind you. When there should be a wreck. How many... The Chase Elliott and Corey LaJoie thing last year, it was a, Yeah. So, it's just... I'm disappointed.
Yeah. That's understandable, but from what I've seen, the last 50 laps or so, it was 44 laps. That was the last green flag.
Something like that.
Green flag run, was really good. Every bit of racing that I've been able to see, I tried to watch as much of it as I could, and it looked phenomenal. Like classic duel between probably two of the best super speedway drivers in the sport, as it stands. Just cool, just really cool racing. And to your point about the racetrack, that was really good racing. I think there are still valid complaints. There's still valid concerns about the new Atlanta, probably more pertaining to the lower series, and we can kind of get to that when we get to those series. But I do think it's honestly put on mostly decent cup races, despite having a little bit of a problem with the lines moving forward. But we're kind of starting to see that that's a problem with the next gen package anyway, regardless of it being Atlanta. So kind of neither here nor there with that one yet, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't know. It was, I was rewatching a lot of the battle, and I kind of echo what you guys are saying.
Eric, everyone here has seen Eric Jones's last lap. If you haven't seen Eric Jones's last lap and you're listening to this, Google it, go on Twitter, look it up, go on YouTube. Someone's had to have posted it. That was nuts.
I saw the onboard.
What we like.
Yeah, I saw the onboard on my lunch break, and then right before we started, I finally got to see him just slice through the pack, and I was like, "That is absurd."
That is awesome. That is awesome. That's really cool. And he got a top 10 out of it, which is even better. So.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Again, that's my other driver, so I've been a little disappointed with the performance this year, but it was good to see. Top 10.
He was ripping.
Don't know if they had top 10 speed. Feel like that was just
they did at the end.
They did for the last.
That's when it mattered.
They did for the last 2 miles of the race, right? But yeah, impressive. Again, I think probably one of the more undervalued drivers in the garage area. Everyone tries to draw Joey Logano comparisons. I don't know if that's completely accurate. I think they just like to do that because he got shoved out of the 20 car probably before he should have, blah, all that, right? But nonetheless, it's just an interesting little thing to watch what Eric does this year in the 43, compare it to last year, and then kind of see where the silly season goes, because silly season is getting ready to get really silly. Here in the next couple weeks, it sounds like. So,
oh jeez,
yeah,
that's early too.
No, it's more sponsor stuff, but
yeah,
it's the Trackhouse Anheuser-Busch deal supposedly. So that will be a very interesting one to see how that kind of fits into what Trackhouse is doing. Some other notable top 10 finishes. Corey LaJoie finishes 4th. I put Ty Gibbs in there because I don't think he's had a top 10 yet this year. Could be wrong. Didn't really stat check that, but also Ty Gibbs has not been very good this year in general. So
Neither Monster Energy car has been. It's like the one good race Tyler Reddick's had this year too.
And it wasn't even a Monster Energy car. I think he finished top 10 last week too, Reddick.
Let me look.
Pretty sure he did.
Who knows? Here's a fun question. And Corey LaJoie talked about some of the difficulties with this too. But do we think Corey LaJoie could get into the playoffs without a win?
No.
Maybe. So
sitting 14th in points right now.
Every few years, there is that one kind of small team that starts out really hot, and you're like, oh, I almost just swore there.
That's okay.
Damn, like these guys are, and then the whole field kind of sorts itself out as it goes along. Like I'm thinking back to 2010 when you had Paul Menard and Scott Speed were in the chase, or in the top 10 in points through like 8 or 9 races, and everybody was like, oh, is this the breakout year? And then they both finished like 25th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it's going to be an uphill battle, but that team is doing what they said they were going to do last year right now.
Oh yeah, they've definitely really capitalized.
Yeah. God damn. you go first. I stole it.
I was gonna say they've definitely capitalized. It's keeping it up for an entire season is the difficult part. So
yeah, Corey seemed to echo that, where he was like, when you get into like the dog days of summer, in his words, when you're really just grinding out, trying to get cars ready and then turning them over, like it's a small shop still. So
again,
it's cool right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And don't forget, you got the Hendrick guys behind him. We'd have to think that all 4 of them, or I guess the other 3, would probably have wins to get themselves locked in.
Mm-hmm.
Might pass him in points just straight up with the speed they've shown. We gotta wait to see what happens with Chase, but I think if they can finish top 25 in points, I think that's a great season, because that's a big bump in money too. A couple spots. They were 31st, I think, last year. So, more money in their
31st.
More money in their pockets, more ability to reinvest in the team. But it's been a good story, Like Ricky Stenhouse he was up there at one point, and then they shuffled him out because he was blocking, and they don't like it when he blocks for some reason.
Yeah.
And he's kind of he kind of was flash in the pan there with the 500, and now he's kind of just disappeared. Outside of Auto Club, but I don't know how much stock we put into Auto Club because we didn't have qualifying. And, when they don't have a chance to practice or get a good feel for the racetrack, it's less likely that guys are going to be able to pass early on in a race, and then just all the mayhem. But, I don't know. The LaJoie story is fun. It's cool. Good for him. Like, I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer, but...
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's realistic.
So 3rd race at Atlanta with the Cup cars specifically. I kind of already gave my overall thoughts, so I wanted to turn it over to you guys. Where your temperature's at with the new configuration?
I think, and we're talking, if we're talking Cup Series, I really think the racing has been fine. And again, like I said, like we've seen the style of super speedway racing that we've seen at the new Atlanta is the exact same style of super speedway racing that we keep seeing at the other speedway tracks. Like, it's just how this car races. And I kind of think Atlanta's getting a really unfair shake of it because of the new configuration. Like, it's getting an unfair, outward view from fans. When, again, it's the same thing we saw at Daytona. It's the same exact thing. And no one's complaining about Daytona being the way it is because it's been the way it is, the complaint was with the package. And when we come to Atlanta, the problem's the track.
It's all on the track, yeah.
Yeah. And again, Atlanta is narrow. But, who knows how this track is going to race. I mean, it feels like we've gotten almost a different kind of race every single time we've come to Atlanta as well. The track is changing and aging, and personally, I think it's aging well. You saw the Xfinity cars, obviously it's kind of like a knife edge right now because they're going so fast, but the Xfinity cars were, had almost no grip. All the Xfinity cars, they fired off very free, very loose. The truck race, they just wrecked a lot. I don't know what to say about that. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say about that. That was just a mess. But Xfinity cars, they all fired off really loose, and I think the track is going to age brilliantly. I think we just gotta. I mean, there's just a level of patience that NASCAR fans don't have that I think we need for this Atlanta to be good. And obviously, a lot of the public opinion is just like I said, the frustration with the change and the frustration with we can't keep the old Atlanta surface forever. It was like literally terrible. Like as cool as it was, and as cool as it is that it was terrible, couldn't continue. So I had to change it.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest part is it replaced something that was really beloved. Like if it was, I'm willing to bet that if it was like Texas that got the super speedway treatment, I think the reception would probably be better. Yeah. So
yeah,
it was like when they did Bristol Dirt for the first time. Everyone that said it was going to suck ended up hating it. It was crazy, and everyone that said it would be okay ended up being okay with it. And everyone that said it was going to be great said it was great. Like, everyone kind of got into their little tribes, and all right, this is my tribe, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we always talk about it, but the people that like to think everyone digress.
See, we don't think that, we just are. So.
Exactly. We prove it each and every day out there on the racetrack, on the virtual one. That's right.
That's right. The virtual racetrack. Also, Joe, last week, did we talk about the Gen 4 thing on iRacing?
I thought we did.
That's okay if we did. If it's okay if we didn't, it's fine.
Gen 4 on iRacing, unrestricted, not like the ARCA cars, like the old Cup cars. And there's going to be a Gen 4 Cup. Enjoy.
It's cool.
It's cool.
It speaks to my inner childhood and my inner want for a Twisted Sister mod on Enter 2003. So, pretty cool. Anyway,
we have that, Davey. Anyways, Xfinity Series from Atlanta. Wreck it up, wreck it up.
First two stages were brutal.
Yeah, I like that the title of the highlights video is "Record-Breaking Caution Flags" is how it starts. I don't know if that's a selling point, you guys.
I don't think it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I think it's the only thing they could take away from the race.
Yeah.
Yeah, the description just needs to be like, get it together, guys. Come on.
Those first few laps were brutal. Or first couple stages, sorry. Brutal. But that race did provide one of my favorite moments of the season so far. Josh Williams, albeit maybe a really dumb move, is a legend. And God, I don't even know, where do we even start? So Josh Williams got involved in one of those early wrecks, one of the many wrecks. Came down pit road. They tried to put Bear Bond on the car. It's like negative 8 million degrees in Atlanta, so the Bear Bond doesn't stick very well. Comes off, causes another caution. And I've seen this said, and I agree with it. If that race isn't already SHIT show, no one cares. He does not get parked.
No.
I think that was the result of a lot of pent-up frustration with the caution fest, with all the cautions, the fact that they're running up the TV window, and, it's dire. It's dire straits. And NASCAR decided to make Josh Williams the example in this moment of frustration. Josh Williams, in his infinite wisdom, was told to park it, parks it on the start-finish line, gets out, throws the deuces up at the flag stand, walks back to the infield, and then he's about to get interviewed, gets called to the hauler, where he then lived.
Yeah, he was there pretty much till the end of the.
I've got a phone call. And Josh, it's for you. It's the based department.
Shut the hell up. That was listen. Penalties will be levied.
Oh, he's getting suspended for at least a race.
In retrospect, it's not the best move, but
social media interactions. I mean,
it was awesome.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown saw that. I don't give a crap about Antonio Brown. He saw it.
Oh my god.
That's awesome. I thought it was cool. I thought it was funny. Race car drivers deserve to have their personalities on display. And honestly, leaving the car there is no different than if you blew up on the track and parked it. So,
yeah.
I mean,
They told him to park because apparently his car wasn't safe enough to race anymore. So he was like, all right, I'm going to get out of it as soon as possible.
What they're going to have a problem with is him walking across the grass on an active racetrack is what they're going to say they have a problem with. We all know they have a problem with everything.
Yeah, but that also I feel like is obviously they're playing that up. It's a hot racetrack, but it's yellow, you know?
Yeah.
I
got no problem if you're going to protest against the DVP, so...
It wasn't even that. They just told him to park. They're like...
Yeah, it was nothing to do. It was
because
they dropped a piece of tape, yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I feel like
Chase Elliott can drive around for 30 laps with a bumper barely on the car. Like
their justification to be like, they're like, oh, you're on the DVP and clearly your repairs didn't hold up, so we're going to park you or whatever. So
yeah, I could see that being like a fallback.
Yeah.
Whatever. It would be dumb, but... That's not like out of the realm of possibility.
No, but DVP, you just had to make minimum speed. It has nothing to do with how good the car looks. It's just minimum speed.
Yeah.
I
feel like if you're dropping debris, they're gonna black flag you.
They'll black flag you, but they won't tell you to park it.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think they parked him is because he dropped debris and they were like, oh, clearly he didn't fix it right. So.
Stop making excuses for them. They're dumb.
It's not an excuse. It's just like I'm trying to understand.
NASCAR sucks.
I do think it sucks.
Officiating is inconsistent and is not.
I literally
very good,
just called Josh Williams based. Whose team do you think I'm on?
Especially in the Xfinity and Truck Series, where they continue to have these race directors learn on the job. Yeah. That is not the place. If you want the Xfinity Series and you want the Truck Series to be taken with an ounce of serious intent, actually have people up there knowing what they're doing and knowing how to manage a race.
Who was it wrecked in the truck race at Vegas and they just left him there and kept racing? And they were like, injured? Good.
I don't remember.
From a couple years ago.
It's a 14, I thought.
I gotta look this up now. Hang on.
Anyway, that was the most intense argument between two people who were on the same side of it that I've ever seen.
Why are you yelling at me?
I'm not yelling.
Oh, man.
Using a harsh tone. I'm not yelling.
I had...
What?
Spencer Boyd, that's who it was.
There you go.
He wrecked with 2 to go, and they just left the race green while his truck was sitting against the inside wall.
Because they couldn't see it was their excuse.
Weed.
They couldn't see it. Maybe you should put some more lights up.
I remember that.
Maybe you should put some more lights up so you can see it.
Maybe have, I don't know, spotters?
Or maybe have, like, maybe make sure the spotters' radios work.
Yeah.
They're not watching the race.
Don't they have corner workers?
Yes. He was crashed right in front of a paramedic truck, like where the trucks come out.
Are the corner workers any?
He's literally
like employ blind people?
He like injured his shoulder too. He injured his shoulder, and he was like, "Guys, help! I need help getting out of the car." And the paramedic was just like, "What?" Oh.
Remember last year when Carson Hocevar broke his leg in a truck race?
Yeah, and they were like, "Damn, bro, that's crazy. Be right back."
You still cheering for that AMR safety team?
Like they're on probation right now.
Okay.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, Austin Hill wins the Xfinity race. In a move that everyone saw coming.
Well, not boo Austin Hill, but
boo because Parker Kligerman didn't win and he got wrecked coming across the line. That was funny as heck watching, honestly, because he was trying a little too hard there, Davey.
What do you mean?
Trying a little too hard.
Trying a little too hard at what? No, we're not doing this right now, Joe. Trying a little too hard at what?
To win.
At what? To win?
Yeah, don't wreck your car.
So
he didn't wreck anyone. Daniel Hemrick wrecked the shit out of him twice.
No.
Dumped his shit. Yes. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you stupid?
No.
What? Are you kidding me? Like, did you watch it?
Yeah.
You just said earlier, like earlier,
I saw the
before
end.
we started recording,
I saw the end.
You didn't watch it.
Yeah, I saw the end.
Clearly not. You kidding me? Daniel Hemrick like flew to the outside lane after he hit him the second time.
This is bait.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, that was a weird finish, but
I'm not letting that go. I'm so upset about it. I have choice words for Daniel Hemrick. My tweet was funny. I don't care.
I didn't see your tweet, honestly.
Oh, my tweet was good. Hold on, let me find it. I'll repeat the tweet right here, right now, and I'll tag Daniel Hemrick in it if you want me to, because it's Screw that guy. Going to have the time of my life watching Daniel Hemrick's career fizzle out a second time with was one measly fucking win he got by driving through someone with double his career and 8 years younger. And I'll have the time of my life doing it. It's going to be a joy to watch Daniel Hemrick. The only thing he's good at doing is getting Kenzie Ruston pregnant. So he can just continue to do that instead and get off the racetrack because he's not good at that. So go do the other thing you're good at and successful at.
Are you going to take your Antonio flag down since it's also a Daniel Hemrick flag?
It's an Antonio flag.
It's a Daniel Hemrick flag, too.
It's a circle flag.
Okay. Austin Hill, he's championship favorite. 3 out of 5 here to start the year.
No.
No?
That's crazy.
Nah.
What you got?
Not him.
It ain't Cole Custer. Was Cole Custer going into the year, but that boy, something's wrong with him.
Nah, it ain't Austin Hill.
John Hunter?
He's won Daytona in Atlanta.
In Vegas.
2 of the 5 races.
Vegas.
Okay, yeah, cool.
That Vegas run was impressive.
I'm sure it was. Good for him.
Okay.
Davey, I admire your dedication to grinding the show to a halt at least once every week.
I don't see him as the favorite yet.
Well, then
it's 5 races in.
Who?
It's 5 races. There's no favorite.
Well, there's a favorite going into the year. There's still a favorite now.
There wasn't a favorite going into the year.
Yes, there was.
Who?
Cole Custer.
I wouldn't say that.
I read so many things saying he was going to dominate this year. He was going to have a Cindric Briscoe-like year in that 0-0. He was going to win 8 races, win the championship going away.
Did I say that?
I didn't say you said that.
Okay, well, I'm saying that there's not a favorite.
You have to have...
It's 5 races in.
Pick somebody.
Pick somebody?
Yeah, pick Parker Kligerman. I don't care. Just pick somebody.
I don't think... Well, Parker Kligerman's had a lot of weird things going on this year, too, but... You want me to pick someone? You really want me to pick someone?
I want
me
you
to pick a favorite? Yep. Because I don't think you can have a favorite 5 races in.
I think you can.
You've
now gone to every track type.
I fundamentally disagree. I don't... I think it's skewed a little differently when 2 of the track types that we've gone to are super speedways. Just saying.
Will you pick a favorite after we go to COTA?
No. Not really. Because, again, we barely have a representative amount of the schedule.
All right. Well, breaking news here, folks. There is no favorite, so screw the question I was asking. Anyways, Truck Series race, Cluster. It was. Christian Eckes won. Good for him. And Bill McAnally, Hilgerman Racing?
I don't know. I can't remember what it is. Hang
on. Is Christian Eckes the favorite in the Truck Series, Davey?
I swear to God.
Who are you asking?
You.
I'm gonna throw myself out a window.
Huh? So I can't hear you.
What's the opposite of chemistry? That's what this podcast has, right?
Probably like geometry.
Yeah.
No, because geometry is still math and chemistry is technically math.
Probably English.
There you go.
History.
Probably history.
Because we used to be better.
Probably history.
Truck racing's really weird at Atlanta.
Yeah. I feel like I had more to say about the Xfinity race, but whatever.
I mean, if you want, feel free. You're on the podcast too.
I don't know.
Say what you need to say.
I was just going to say, when it comes to the last lap thing, I think the first contact was just he got tight and then they got hung together and he was like, I'm just going to finish it off.
Yeah.
It was like, because you can see he goes down to the apron to try to get off Kligerman and it doesn't work. And so then at the point, he's just like, yeah, screw it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to turn him.
I'm just going to turn right.
Yeah.
Bozo status.
Stupid. It was reckless. I don't know if it was like, I saw a lot of people comparing it to the Brian Vickers Talladega thing, and I was like, I don't think Daniel Hemrick was going to try to hook 2 people head on into the outside wall.
Yeah.
I think it was just sloppy driving.
I don't think Brian Vickers was trying to do that either.
Yeah. So.
Bozo status.
Yeah. So it was stupid.
Truck racing's weird.
Yeah.
It is. Truck racing is not real. I refuse to believe that is a real series that exists anymore. NASCAR got rid of the Truck Series 4 years ago.
The trucks could have stopped racing about 4 years ago, and I probably wouldn't have noticed.
Which is
Thanks for repeating the same point. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
What?
Trucks. All right, so Truck Series racing's weird. We all agree. Don't need it anymore. Get rid of the Truck Series.
I'm just like struggling to
Fire all the
remember
people.
anything. I'm just struggling to remember anything that happened in the race. Like I'm scrubbing through the highlights.
Crashes.
Right now.
Lane Riggs ran all the laps despite being a bozo.
Wait, who did?
Lane Riggs.
Oh.
Wasn't he in the one truck?
Oh my
He like
God.
turned right across somebody's nose into the outside wall.
When was this?
Early in the race, because I remember watching it.
I can't.
I'm looking for it right now. Hang on.
I mean, again, inexperience and all, but it was like, man.
Yeah, literally 20 laps in. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He just cleaned himself out like
It's
super early. I
it's like-
forgot about that.
Brother.
It was his teammate too. I'm pretty sure.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I can't keep track of anything.
I can't keep
Dude,
track of them damn Toyotas.
The Truck Series is so frustrating because it's like it used to be so cool. I don't know. It's hard for me to like keep up with anything when every single truck changes drivers pretty much every year.
That's okay, though. That's a good thing, because it's a feeder series.
Old Man Crafton's still around though.
Hey, that's right. Old Man Crafton's still kicking. Ty Majeski, Ben Rose, they're still there. ThorSport will not hire a young driver unless you give them money to, Haley Deegan.
Yep.
Um,
Haley needs to get out of the Truck Series already. Just
maybe if she does something of note in the Truck Series, she could get out of it.
well, it was like what we were talking about when she ran her one Xfinity race last year.
She
and,
ran
like,
well.
and actually ran well, and I was like, they need to put her in something that like actually fits her skills.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's just
frustrating.
it's like I don't.
It is kind of weird that she just keeps grinding away at the Truck Series like it's gonna.
Because Ford doesn't have a spot for her anywhere else.
Yeah, true.
They'd rather just keep paying her to be in the Truck Series.
Just kick Custer out.
Psh. They already did that once.
Yeah. At this rate, that's probably what's going to happen. So,
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with that 00. Other newsworthy notes here: Hendrick Motorsports and Colleague Racing's number 31 team, Louvers. A lot of discussion about the Louvers. A lot of hand waving from Hendrick Motorsports, in my opinion, about how tolerances work and how things are out of tolerance. So that's why they had to make them fit. I got
it's probably just so they don't go, yeah, we cheated.
Well, I know. And it's so the way anytime you build anything, you have a tolerance, right? It can be plus or minus 10 mil left, right, addition or subtraction. And or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be that, but so when you have all these different suppliers making all these different parts, you know, this part might be plus 10, this part might be plus 6, this part might be minus 15, like, you know, you're all over the place with tolerance. So it's not necessarily that things are out of tolerance, it's that things as tolerances don't line up, and since you don't have a single source supplier for all the components of the race car, you have an issue. Crazy. Who could have predicted that?
Not me.
But it's just interesting that they also had louvers that they could use in their hauler that they just elected not to put on the race cars in the first place. I'm just saying, if you knew there was a problem with them, why even bring them to the track?
Because they knew they were
Well, you
better.
see, Joe, it was a lie.
I know.
They knew-
Well, that's what I'm saying. And their whole defense is going to be, well, these parts got confiscated before the weekend. We didn't race with them, and they're going to go about it like that. And I don't think it's going to matter.
No.
The rule is you can't mess with those parts. So if you keep them at the race shop, I don't think NASCAR's going to know that you're messing with them. Don't bring them to the racetrack.
Yeah.
Simple as that. They also like to bring up the point that they went to a voluntary inspection and had the parts confiscated. Just remember that one too.
Yeah.
Voluntary inspection.
Right.
That's why they went with those parts.
Yeah.
That's why.
Wouldn't be surprised though to see the penalty get reduced because we all know how that works. How William Byron got away with dumping Denny Hamlin under caution last year.
I still can't believe that. Like,
yeah.
It's so absurd.
A little weird.
Even as like the Fake Racers podcast patented Denny Hamlin hater, I was like, that was ridiculous.
Well, you're gonna love this next topic. Denny Hamlin decided to admit to wrecking Ross, or not wrecking, I guess putting him in the wall, walling Ross Chastain at Phoenix last week. Did it on his podcast.
I have an opinion about this because I didn't get to talk about it last week.
Oh boy.
So, I don't think Denny Hamlin got penalized for admitting that he wrecked Ross Chastain. I think he got penalized because he said he took his hands off the wheel and let his car basically torpedo into the wall. And if you're a 15-year veteran, you shouldn't be doing that.
I also don't think that's literally what he did.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is it like, it might be hyperbole, but if it is, why even say that? Like, it's just a stupid thing to say.
It's a podcast. He's trying to create intrigue and
yeah, but the whole premise of it is like, oh, Denny Hamlin speaks the truth, and it's like, well, then why would you like conflate that? Like, even if it's a lie, it's not a good look for you.
It's for the show. He also didn't say he let his hands off the wheel. He unwound.
Jesus, take the wheel.
People do that all the time. Like, that's like ruining someone else's race for the sake of saving your own happens all the time. Ask Joey Logano. He does it almost every week in some way.
I don't think he saved his race though. See, my beef with like
but the saving the race part has nothing to do with the penalty, by the way. That's irrelevant.
Yeah, different point. The thing that that bugged me about it is if one of my beliefs would be like, if you're gonna pay somebody back or you're gonna wreck somebody, make it worth something. Don't throw away 8 or 9 spots in the process of doing it and tear up your car for no reason. You know?
He felt like he was gonna end up in the fence anyway. That's why he ended up doing it.
Yeah, because like when I watched the clip, he was like, "Oh, I was gonna finish like 15th," so I decided I'd take Ross out with me, and I was like, "Well, you finished 23rd, so like you probably would have got 8 or 9 of those spots back by not doing that." So yeah, it's just dumb.
I think a points penalty is a bit much. I think maybe a monetary fine would have been enough, but
yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. So.
I think this is NASCAR saying, "Don't f around with us." So, because that's
also let's put it very plainly. I don't think NASCAR loves Denny Hamlin.
Oh no,
they don't love him. No, by any stretch of the imagination.
It's a very big subscriber to the idea of if you do something and you get away with it, don't bring it back up. And I know it's hard, again, when you're a podcast host and you get asked the question on your podcast about, hey, what happened there?
Kind of like the main thing everyone wanted to hear about on the show.
Embellish a little bit. Sometimes it's okay to be a grifter.
Yeah,
it's never okay to be a grifter.
The kind of embellishment you should do the Matt Kenseth style of embellishment where you're like, oh man, I blew it right front. That's crazy. Not, I decided to let go of the steering wheel and just kind of whatever happens. So,
it's just I think he was just trying to see what they would do, honestly. I had somebody say, a friend of mine say that Denny is the new drama queen of the Cup Garage, and kind of subscribe to that a little bit. Seems like he likes to be at the center of all the drama. Intentional or not, he has been, right?
Mm-hmm. It does find him a lot, even when he doesn't do stuff. like the aforementioned William Byron thing.
The whole Ross Chastain thing, too. I don't understand. Like, I know Ross got into him in the clash. Why? How is this the moment to pay him back? And now you're like, oh, yeah, our beef is squashed. We're going to race each other like we want to be raced. Ross has been racing you the way he wants to be raced this whole time.
Yeah.
Ross doesn't care, right? Like, that's the whole thing. Oh, Ross doesn't give a crap. Blah, 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 blah. Then race him like that. That's all you have to do. Oh, shucks, you made a mistake underneath Ross. You don't have to turn right off the corner at Pocono. You don't have to, gas it mid-corner at Phoenix and then admit to doing it intentionally. Like, you don't have to do these things. It's stupid.
I was going to say, that was like the immediate thing that I thought of. Is I was like, if you wanted to get back on Ross, why wouldn't you just dump him going into 3, like at Phoenix? Because he was going to clear you, and you were going to come onto the back straightaway behind him, and then you could just punt him.
Hell,
like
I know you guys didn't get a chance to watch it live, but when Ross went from right to left on Harvick's bumper and Harvick got wrecked and whatnot, they right away said, "Oh yeah, Ross ran him over. Ross ran him over." Ross didn't freaking touch him.
Yeah.
they had to backtrack 2 minutes later that, oh, he didn't touch them. Because guess what? Ross Chastain's stock for causing incidents and his leeway for being the problem or the causation of a wreck, guess where it is? It's way down. It's in freaking hell. It's that low. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand the Ross Chastain hate boner that Denny Hamlin has, but, you know, by God, go for it. I don't care. I get it. He took you out a couple times and you're mad about that. Guess what? He's done that to everyone else, and I don't see anyone else being an idiot about racing around him. Makes me angry.
What are you mad about?
I'm mad that Ross Chastain is one of the most exciting drivers in the garage area, and we have to act like he's like this terrible person and this terrible race car driver.
Why do we have to act like that? I don't know what you're upset about, because it sounds like you're upset that like we have an exciting driver and he's rubbing other drivers the wrong way. Isn't that what you want? Isn't that like, why are you bitching about that? Isn't that kind of like the goal? Isn't that the fun part? Because if he was an exciting driver and everyone was just like, "Oh, Ross Chastain, sorry, buddy," like that's kind of like boring, right? Isn't that like isn't the point
when
that
it crosses over into getting payback during an event? I don't care if he says this stuff outside the car. I care about when the announcers all of a sudden say it's Ross Chastain's fault when it isn't, because that's that whole thing starting to creep into a broadcast, and as a broadcaster, you're supposed to be unbiased.
Well, that's a whole.
That's a whole different
we
can
can talk
of worms.
about the broadcast.
But my point, Davey, is complain about him off the track. Say he sucks. Say he's a terrible driver. Say you hate racing around him. Say he does all this. Fine. Denny Hamlin doesn't benefit by going after Ross Chastain. No one benefits.
I think. Well, I think we're just trying to say
he's not going to change.
What I was mentioning earlier about, you know, like if you're gonna get back at Ross, like don't do it in a way that harms you just as much as it harms him, you know, like that. I think that's the frustrating thing about this whole rivalry. It's like what we've talked about all throughout last year too, is it's so frustrating to listen to Denny Hamlin run his mouth about how he's going to get Ross, and then every time he does it backfires, or he does it in such a terrible pussyfooting around the issue way, you know. Like the whole thing at Gateway, or when he finally did pay him back at Pocono and then was like, "Oh, I don't know about that." And I was like, just own it, you know? Like, you've said he has one coming, just say it. And then the same thing with this week, the one time he actually does own it, it's in a really stupid way that makes you look bad. Like, I think I tweeted about it. I was like, he's almost as bad as Harvick at retaliation. I don't get it. So, just like, just dump him into 3. That's all you had to do. Just punt him. So I'm just, yeah, I'm just as sick of hearing about it as Joe, though. It's like, let's just move on, you know? Ross doesn't give a damn what you think, Denny. Like, yeah, it sucks. You're either going to stop putting up with it, or he's just going to keep doing this to you. So, I don't know.
I like Denny Hamlin. He's pretty cool.
It's frustrating.
He's great for the garage area. I don't know. I teeter one way this day and one way the next, but
yeah,
again, not wise to stick your tongue out at NASCAR, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh. Weekend preview.
Unless you're Josh Williams.
Unless you're Josh Williams.
It's based as hell.
Still probably not wise. Truck Series picks from Coda. Dave, you okay?
Yeah. Why? What's up?
I'm just making sure. Seem distant.
What the fuck are you? A Tinder match of mine? Like, calm down.
What you got for the Truck Series? I think I can guess.
Parker Kligerman.
All right, that was my guess.
I gotta look at this. Oh, hey, Bowman's run the truck race. I'll take him.
I'll take Zane Smith.
All right.
Xfinity Series. Oh boy, exciting! Xfinity Series from Coda. Gonna see some great racing action. Davey, who you got?
Take a wild guess at this one.
Did I pick Parker last week for Atlanta? I can't remember.
You picked... No, you picked Josh Berry.
Okay, so I gotta not pick Parker. Okay. I'm gonna go with AJ Allmendinger.
Which car? Oh, he's running the 10. Forgot about that. I will take. Oh God, Ty Gibbs is running the Xfinity race.
You're taking Ty Gibbs.
No, I'm not. Good to see that 2 cars don't even have drivers announced yet. I'll take Miguel Paludo.
All right, the 88 JRM car. I'm taking Kyle Larson. Wow.
Wait, which car is he driving?
Boo.
In the 17 this weekend.
17 probably. Yeah, there you go.
Byron
do it.
the 17.
I'm taking William Byron.
I was like, I'm pretty sure Kyle Larson's not.
I was like, I didn't see his name on there, but I could have missed it. I should speak up.
And then the headliner for the weekend, the Cup Series. Wanted to get your guys' thoughts because the Fox booth is going to look pretty fun this week. Got Kurt Busch in the booth.
Yeah,
that's cool because Kurt's always fun in the booth. And got another guy in the booth. Gunther Steiner from Haas F1 gonna be in the booth.
That is gonna be so awesome.
Weird.
That's gonna be so awesome.
Well,
I'm excited for that.
There's 3 road ringers, and I feel like we should pick all 3 of them. I feel like that's the only appropriate way to do it.
You're right, actually.
Yeah.
I'm picking Jimmy Johnson.
I forgot Jimmy's running this race. Okay, never mind. Who do I take? Joe, pick
4 road ringers.
I can pick.
Yes.
I'm taking AJ Allmendinger.
Oh my God, you guys
Tough.
are fun.
I picked Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson's gonna wreck the car, and he's never gonna finish a road course race again.
Can I pick?
He's a terrible road course racer.
Can I pick 3 drivers combined? Like some combination between Jordan Taylor, Kimi Räikkönen, and Jenson Button.
You can
Jordan
either
Taylor's
have
gonna be a blast.
You can either have the 2 F1 guys or Jordan Taylor.
Damn it. I'm gonna take the 2 F1 guys. Give me Kimi and Jenson. So.
I'm surprised by that.
That is so cool that they got Jordan to, Rodney Sandstorm to drive the 9. So,
do you think he shows up in Rodney Sandstorm garb, or do you think
he better?
He's gotta.
Right?
That's like the whole thing.
You can't make your NASCAR debut and not be Rodney Sandstorm.
They should wrap the car in DuPont colors for one.
Sorry, Byron, you're running the 9 this week.
Do it.
That'd be awesome.
Think about the social media buzz and content
yeah.
you'd be able to make.
That is. I was just thinking about how, that would go so hard, and the merch would go crazy.
I wonder if he's gonna have any merch.
Crazy. Probably not. It's a missed opportunity.
I mean, his name isn't even on the door, right? So.
Mm-hmm. It's a missed opportunity, 100%. This is why I wish NASCAR were brave again, or not NASCAR as like the entity of NASCAR, but like NASCAR as like a community, NASCAR as like an industry. You know, there's everyone's just really safe and towing the lines and staying right in there and just making sure they stay all nice and inside the sponsor's appreciation bubble, when we could have got a rainbow Napa car or something for Jordan Taylor, and the Rodney Sandstorm connection would have been unbelievable, and the merch would have gone crazy, and NASCAR streetwear would have gone absolutely nuts because it's rainbow merch and it's coming back, but instead he's just gonna drive the Napa car that no one thinks looks good anymore. And it's going to be largely forgotten about because Chase Elliott's going to be on the door and on the name banner.
Yeah, I saw a thing about that the other day that annoys the hell out of me, how they don't update the name banners.
Oh my God.
And it was like Brendan Gaughan driving one car, or it was a car with Brendan Gaughan's name on it, but somebody else was driving it, and God, it's so stupid.
Didn't we literally have this conversation a couple weeks ago on here?
I think we may have done it last week, maybe, and so Matthew wasn't there.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't listen to the show? Oh, that's cool.
I haven't got a chance to listen to it yet, so I've been busy.
Busy boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson bringing all that sponsorship money in from one of the sponsors that was already there with Legacy Motor Club. Love it.
That's right, baby.
Love it.
And that plain blue car.
Can't wait to watch Eric Jones drive the Allegiant Airlines Chevrolet again.
Everything's fine here at Legacy Motor Club. No need to look.
Seriously, I'm concerned. Like, I didn't expect anything crazy, but I at least expected something.
It's gone from like, this is cool, to like,
It's like, Guns N' Roses car. This is a cool idea. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Why is it a Guns N' Roses car in the biggest race of the year? That's a little weird.
He's like, yeah, man, I just really like Paradise City, you know?
Hold on.
Love the Burnout game.
Sweet child of mine, man. Awesome.
Wait a minute.
You guys ever heard the song? It's called November Rain. It's awesome. It's got 2 guitar solos in it.
Okay, but we need money. The guitar solos.
Yeah, but Slash. He's playing in front of a church.
That bit was stupid, but I loved it. Oh man.
Oh, that's the end of this.
Chinese Democracy wasn't that bad. Let's be real, okay? I know it took like 14 years to come out. Seeing who's up to date on their Guns N' Roses lore right now.
Jordan Taylor is going to be in the 9 car for Coaster of the Americas, if you didn't know that already.
Legacy Motors Club can't find a sponsor for the 43. Folks, again, can't
What's
thank
new?
you. Thanks, Focus Factor. Once again, folks, can't thank you enough for watching this week. Again, great viewership last week. Really appreciate that. Make sure if you are coming back to watch these again, click the like button, subscribe. Again, doing those things does really help support us here on our YouTube platform. Also, making sure you're following us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, whatever platform you're listening to us on. If you're listening just the audio version at work or whatever it may be, making sure that you're following, you click like on those as well. That's a big help. Remember, you can follow the official Fake Racers podcast account at Fake Racers on Twitter to stay up to date when new episodes get uploaded.
You can also follow the Fake Official Racers podcast at the same place too.
That one threw me for a loop.
Don't give me that look, Joe.
I'm in a different zone at the moment.
We got the Boyos links down in the video description below. Davey's got D7H5 with an ER at the end on Twitch, at D7H5 on Instagram, and at Davey Hazard on Twitter. And he also has a really cool Parker Clearman Bounty Food Country USA Chevrolet.
A custom.
From Chesapeake?
Yes, from Chesapeake.
Nice.
Good, very, very, very well done. Very, very cool. Super easy guy to deal with. Check him out. Support him. He's cool. This thing's awesome.
Is that one he won in at Dega, or?
I don't think
he ran that at
this was like
Dirt,
Bristol Dirt. This was,
or Knoxville, I think. It's one of those.
I don't recall. Matthews at msteelman51 on Twitter. You can stay up to date when he tells people to F off and has meaningless arguments with them on Twitter. It's quite enjoyable, actually. So,
which is fun. Yeah, I was gonna say that's.
It does a pretty good job at
that. Once a week, I'm like, I need to clap back at this guy real quick.
Always good for a little bit of a milk up your nose moment in the middle of the week if you need one of those. So
I'll tweet more about Guns N' Roses if you guys want me to. So
there you go. Yeah. Tell us in the comments below.
Yeah.
Folks, again though,
you guys heard of this band Velvet Revolver? It's like Guns N' Roses, but with a different singer.
Or you can follow us at Johto Network, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and of course on YouTube. That's about it. So for all of us here at the Fake Racers Podcast this week, and of course our beautiful sound producer Bristol, we'll see you guys next week.
Today.
Bristol
did a really good job today
on the Fake Racers Podcast.
Did a really good job today.
He did a great job today.
Yep.
It was more important that Bristol did a good job and everyone knew. In my opinion.
All right.
Bye.